I'm Alessandra, and I make things. And there's somebody who I've neglected to mention who looms over me like the bumblebee outside my office.
Look at this thing. It's bumbling.
Wearing something that I made that I cannot wear, and therefore it needs to be fixed. I am talking about my good friend, Stabigail Adams. This is she, obviously named after Abigail Adams, Queen of Boston. I made this jacket last year. I based this original pattern off this random quilt I saw on Pinterest, and I used the fabrics I had in my stash. I then used a previous jacket pattern I made to plan it all out. Yes, I spent an ungodly amount of time quilting and sewing this, but that's just part of the whole process, my dudes. It has been sitting in my office just taunting me about how I have not finished it. And the reason I have not finished it is because it looks like this. You may be thinking, hey, that doesn't look so bad. Well, I agree, but it doesn't pass the cross arms test. Nor does it close in the front over these nunga-nungas.
See nunga-nungas.
What?
And I made it with a batting, so it's thicker than I wanted it to be. And it's generally not something I would wear, which does confuse me as to why I made it in the first place. I don't know. I really, really love Tangled. I also have this amazing Tangled cotton that I found at Joann's months before they closed. It is impeccable, and I was like, this has to be the lining, right? You would think that, except for the fact that I'm not going to wear this jacket. So we need it to turn into something else. And what that is, I have no idea. So let's go to Pinterest. Here's my Pinterest page. It's like a thumbprint, a wholly unique collection of my absurd amount of hobbies. I could look for days for something to make with my patchwork that just speaks to me at this point in time. Oh, that was fast. I love this idea, and I can use what I already got. For the pants, I've got a perfect pair from Old Navy that is just too tight on me, as they have absolutely no stretch at all. They're barrel leg style, which is a little odd, but I'm not going to question it. I'm probably going to have some extra fabric available to make a corset top, so that's going to happen. But not enough for the entire thing. Maybe a stretchy fabric? I don't know. We will cross that bridge when we come to it. But of course I will be using the tried and tested Butterick B4669 to make this, and I need to slowly unpick every single stitch on this jacket before I start. Let's see what we're working with. Here I am cutting up the sides of the pants. I took out the bulk of the side seam entirely for easier sewing. I measured my waist and I figured I need an extra couple inches at the top, so I'm just cutting out some tall triangles. Well, they're technically quadrilaterals, trapezoids if you will. Sewing is a surprising amount of geometry and no one tells you this. I've got to piece together the patchwork so that it aligns in one giant piece. I also included the front pockets of the jacket on the sides, and once I've sewn the panels together, I can cut out a matching pair in that fantastic lining. The leg side gores are done. I've cut out the fronts and the backs, which is the lining. I love this lining. It is so beautiful. It is so stinking cute. So I'm going to serge all of the edges all around both of the gores before I insert them into the pants. Now it's time to clip together all the sides of the pants, lining the top of the gore with a waistband. I also folded down a little to avoid that serged edge. I spent too much time trying to pry off these weird studs by the pockets. Okay, I give up. We're just gonna cut it out. The pinning is done. They're now really heavy, and I just have to sew up all the seams. It's at this point in the project where I am scared to continue. I don't know if anybody else feels this way when they sew things. Like, they cut everything out and then they pin everything together, and then right before you're about to actually sew it all together, you're like, I don't wanna. I feel like every time I get to this point, I'm like, can I just forego this another day and maybe do it tomorrow? But no, these need to get done. I've been working on this for too long. These pants need to get done. They're getting done. They're getting done today. Pants are sewn up. Just need to iron and hem. Cutting out the front and back pieces of this pattern was going to be so much more of a challenge. I need the front to be the most eye-catching part of the design, so that's fine. But then the back needs a lot of fabric, and on the fold. It ended up taking a lot more patchworking than I expected, but honestly, I think it turned out pretty good. I also cut out the matching lining. So this is what we got so far. Just put the front panel on here. I still have to fix up the back panel, which will be made out of that quilted material from the original jacket. So because I don't want to put A, lacing, or B, a zipper in this thing, I'm just going to figure out another way to do it, and that is to put knit fabric panels on the sides instead. On this side and on this side with corresponding fabric. I have a golden fabric that matches this. I don't know if I really want that much of a contrast for this top. I could do that, but I think I'm gonna try to find a purple knit fabric at my local fabric store and only buy like 1 yard of it or something, because I really just need it for the sides of this. I have found that putting things in knit actually is a lot easier when you're trying to fit these much tighter materials. I mean, even the pattern I have is actually too small for me. So I think that this is gonna be a happy medium. When I sew everything together, it's gonna fit quite swimmingly in my head. Yeah, all right, let's see if I'm right about that. Off to the expensive fabric store. I think this dark purple is the best I'm gonna get. Got my things. So I ended up having to go both to Michael's and the fabric store. So at Michael's I got some fake flowers that will go perfectly to accentuate my hair and my outfit in the end, which I think it's a perfect mix of all of the different tangled colors. It's perfect. And then I got the fabric for the outside, which is this this purple jersey knit. It was the closest color that they had. It's not perfect, but I don't know. I could still do the other jersey knit. I don't know. It's not exactly the same. They really didn't have a good match, and as you can see, it's not entirely great, but it could be worse. Maybe I'll try to dye it a little bit.
Fat chance.
Yeah. And I got some yellow ribbon so that I can make the ties on the front. So that definitely matches pretty good. Pretty happy with these purchases. Okay. Okay, I have pinned both the front and the lining pieces together for both of the front and the back pieces that we have. The only two pieces that actually have the quilted material and the lining, because the two sides are made out of this knit fabric, as you saw. So before I sew them all together, I'm going to baste all around the edges of these pieces to just secure them before I sew everything together and make sure that the edges are all encased. I'm marking where I want the knit fabric to come up on the back panels. This way I can only serge them up to that point. The exposed edges will all be covered up in bias tape, so it's really the inside seams that need the serged edges. Let's try this baby on. And it fits really well, actually. This pattern is a little too small for me, so I'm hoping the knit will give me just the right amount of hug I need, and it looks great. Now I can add all the bias tape.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
She doesn't know what she's talking about.
You're right. I'm just an all-seeing mannequin and you're a sewing genius.
That's more like it. It's gonna work out just fine, you'll see. Up top. Okay. I cut out the bias tape in 2-inch strips and sew them all together to make one long strip. What's great about this fabric is it rolls a bunch anyway, and the stretch makes it easier to get around those awkward edges. Now I can install my grommets with my little grommet kit and hammer. I put them on the 2 points of the front bodice and the straps on the back. Time to try it on. Turns out when you have a dream, it doesn't always work out. And when you have stretchy bias binding and you fold it over a couple times, it's no longer stretchy.
You never listen to me.
So, yeah. I'm gonna have to add a zipper of some sort. And I'll see you in the reveal. whacking everything. Okay, of course I chose the absolute hottest and windiest day to record this recap and everything, but that's okay. You know, I was really putting off putting this thing on, mostly because it actually was pretty difficult to get on. The zipper is not very functional. I think if you have somebody to put you in it, that would be the best option, because it's actually quite difficult for me to get it on myself. But at least I know it's easy for me to take it off, because that's kind of, you know, that's important too. And I was maybe gonna wear a shirt under this, but again, it's difficult for me to put this on by myself. It's not the easiest. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with this outfit. As you can see, the pants, you know, the front of them, they're cut a little bit strange, so they go inward. But I do think that because of this looser fit, they actually are like their own kind of cool fashion, like lower rise jeans that I definitely am happy that they're not like digging into me. And I think that's kind of popular right now. I don't know. I don't really know what the trends are. I just do things because I feel comfortable wearing them, and you know, it might be a little bit too warm to wear these pants today, but in general, I would wear these pants. They're pretty comfortable. They are quite loose in the waist, and I feel like they're just like very convenient to just throw on. Not to mention the cotton is very comfortable, especially on the sides. Like, I'm very surprised how soft and comfortable the cotton and the lining work on the inside of these pants. So they were definitely a success that I was not anticipating. Yeah, as the top goes though, it's not the most comfortable top. It's quite difficult to get in by myself. So I think in the future, I won't make that bias tape. I won't put bias tape around the edges, and just try to figure out another way to keep the stretchiness. Also, I did my nails in the style of Tangled, so that was fun. I'm really enjoying. Oh my goodness, I am sweating. Note to self, don't wait till the hottest day of the year so far to film this. Also the windiest. You can see my hair in these clips. It was hilarious. It was great. All in all, I'm quite happy with this whole endeavor. Thanks for watching, and me and Stabigail will catch you in our next video. Bye!
Bye!